The Pittsburgh Steelers are scheduling some big-time meetings at the Scouting Combine. All that and more. Big Deke News. I'm guessing these Steeler meetings, I'm hoping so at least, are going a little bit better than the one Ian Rapoport and Jordan Schultz had at Starbucks. We got a classic NFL insider fight on our hands. Although, I don't think we can really say classic. When has this ever happened before? Might be unprecedented, actually. Because usually it's athlete versus reporter or reporter versus athlete. Not this reporter-on-reporter violence, friendly fire. Now, no hands were thrown. It was just a verbal confrontation. But it stems from a Jordan Schultz, Matt Stafford tweet, which is why I'm bringing it up, because of the Stafford to Steelers connection. The Steelers may potentially be interested in a trade, even though a lot of these signs are pointing to Fields. But still, the Steelers are loosely connected to Stafford. Anyway, Schultz tweeted out something about Stafford being recruited by Tom Brady to the Raiders. Ian Rapoport said it was really nothing. It wasn't really a formal recruitment or anything like that. But then Jordan Schultz doubled down on it, and then they had talking about it at Starbucks. But here's the actual tweets. Jordan Schultz said, Raiders minority owner Tom Brady recently hosted Rams quarterback Matt Stafford at his home in Montana, where they spent time together and went skiing. Brady has been actively trying to convince Stafford to join the Raiders, and discussions are ongoing. Several teams are interested in Stafford if the Rams decide to move him, with Vegas believed to be the most aggressive suitor. Ian Rapoport's response is that Raiders minority owner Tom Brady and Rams quarterback Matt Stafford ran into each other at a ski resort in Montana, sources say. The meeting, unplanned, was not extensive or in-depth and did not include Brady hosting or recruiting Stafford, despite reports saying otherwise. Retweeted Tom Pelissero report from Tom Brady's agent that kind of backed up Rapoport here, that it wasn't really nothing, and said that Tom Brady and Matt Stafford, like many other high-profile people, both own houses in the same ski community. Jordan Schultz says, though, doubles down on his initial take. If you really think Tom Brady and Matt Stafford just so happened to run into each other at a ski resort in Montana, of all places at the exact same time, I got a bridge to sell you. They were together over the weekend. It happened. Multiple teams are interested in Stafford, and Brady has been leading the charge to get him to the Raiders if the Rams decide to trade him. And apparently after this Twitter war happened, the meeting at Starbucks went something like this. Via Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk says, we're told that Rapoport was talking to an agent. Schultz approached Rapoport and said, we need to talk. Rapoport replied, we don't need to talk. Schultz then made accusations about Rapoport. We're told regards the accusations as unfounded. The two men were essentially face-to-face. If you have anything to say to me, say it to my effing face. If this continues, we're going to have an effing problem, Schultz said. Rapoport then asked Schultz to step back. If this happens again, we're going to have an effing problem, Schultz said, or specific words to that effect. Now I'll step back. Florio added that NFL security was notified of the incident. According to Schultz, it was Rapoport who alerted security. Rapoport declined to comment on the incident to Florio, while Schultz was happy to. It really isn't anything too much, Schultz said via text. Ian Rapoport and I had a verbal confrontation. It lasted a little over a minute. Multiple agents and reporters were nearby. Rapoport was the one who called security shortly after, but it never escalated further. Fellow NFL insider Adam Schefter took note of this exchange and is not taking any chances while getting his Starbucks today. He's on alert. But anyway, does Tom Brady, no matter what side you want to take on this report here, does Tom Brady and the Raiders want Matt Stafford? Yeah, probably. Yeah, for sure. Are they recruiting him in some form or fashion? Meeting with Stafford, meeting with his agents? Is Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, the Raiders organization trying to get Stafford as their quarterback? Yeah, so I don't even think these reports matter too much. I think it's just semantics on who's more right about what happened in Montana between Brady and Stafford. But it does look like Steelers more out of the Stafford sweepstakes, more in on Justin Fields. So if you're going to have a couple teams that are likely to get Stafford or are really interested in Stafford, Giants and Raiders make a ton of sense. I would say the Raiders probably on paper make the most sense out of any team in the league. I think between the Raiders and the Steelers. Those would be the top two teams that would make sense for Stafford. But, I mean, you could even make a case of the Raiders over the Steelers. It's brand new. Like, they're doing a whole rebuild, overhaul, so everything's fresh. You got Pete Carroll, Tom Brady as an owner, Chip Kelly as your offensive coordinator, Brock Bowers, generational tight end to throw to. And, like, you're going to have say in this. Because everything's new, you're going to have say in how the offense is run, and you're going to have influence about the direction of the organization and the offense. And you get to stay on the West Coast, play in a dome, whereas with Pittsburgh, if you come here, I don't know how much influence you're going to have over the offense. Like, you're just stepping into what is already built, the culture and everything that's already established here. And you got the weather in Pittsburgh, playing outside, whereas Stafford his whole career has played in a dome as his home team, Detroit, and also with the LA Rams. So, like, there are factors that point to the Raiders making the most sense if Stafford wanted to go there. But I do think the Steelers would be second, like, on paper, out of all the teams that may be interested in a quarterback, may be interested in Stafford. I think Steelers would be second. Like, we would be over the Giants. We would be over any other team that would be interested in Stafford. Giants, Jets, Browns. Yeah, like, let's not discredit ourselves too much. But Raiders versus Steelers, I could see why Raiders would be an intriguing option for Stafford if he had the choice in all of this. But, again, it doesn't even look like the Steelers are that interested in Stafford. It seems like our first priority is Fields, so this all could be a moot point anyway. But in terms of Steeler meetings, again, hopefully they're going a little bit better than Rapoport and Schultz. They met with Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers. High-profile college quarterback, was on the cover of NCAA football. One of the best college quarterbacks in the game, really, over the last couple seasons. You got to give the dude credit. So, looks like the Steelers are doing their due diligence at the quarterback position. I think that's one takeaway you can have from this. I would assume because we met with Quinn Ewers, this means we're going to have more quarterback meetings, not just Quinn Ewers, and that's it. And I'm guessing it would be more quarterbacks in line with Ewers' draft range, which means pretty much any quarterback outside of Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, because they're going to go in the top 10, presumably. Maybe even top 5. Although it may not be a bad idea to meet with Shedeur in case he slips to maybe like the top 10 or 15, because maybe you could trade up to get him if you really wanted Shedeur. But realistically, I think if the Steelers re-sign Fields or have our 2025 starting quarterback in place before the draft, then any quarterback we take in the draft is going to be just a backup or developmental piece. So I think trading up or going out of our way to get a Shedeur or a Cam Ward would be foolish, with Fields most likely being on our roster, which means he would be in place to be our 2025 starter. But in terms of drafting a quarterback like Ewers or, again, other quarterbacks in that range, I think that's fine. But it also depends on where you draft him, because I like the idea, as we sit here right now, assuming Fields is the guy, don't draft a quarterback in the first 3 rounds. Get Fields as much help as possible. Surround him with pieces to succeed now, whether it is on the offense or defense. But then if you're talking about the 4th or the 5th round, and if Quinn Ewers falls to either of those rounds, then fine. Yeah, take a quarterback as a developmental piece, as a backup, maybe even the 3rd stringer. Like, you could sign a backup in free agency, a more veteran guy, and then take your chance on a Quinn Ewers in like the 4th or 5th, see how he develops. Almost like what we did with Landry Jones. And if he develops into something, year 2, year 3, it doesn't work out with Fields, maybe you give a Quinn Ewers a chance. Like, I would say, like, specifically with Quinn, he's solid. I don't know if he's going to go in the 4th, though. At least from my perspective, I grade him a little bit higher than others, because I've seen some people think that he can go in the 4th or the 5th. I'd say he's probably the 6th best quarterback in this class. I'd say he goes after Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, Jaylen Milroe, and Will Howard. So if you look at it like that, depending on how the run of quarterbacks is, say Cam Ward, Shedeur go early, Jackson Dart, late 1st, early 2nd, Jaylen Milroe, late 1st, early 2nd, same thing with Will Howard. And then I would have Quinn Ewers after those 5. So depending on how the runs of quarterbacks go, yeah, if all those 5 go before the second round's over, Quinn could be maybe taken at the end of the second or in the third. But it also depends on how he's viewed, because maybe he's viewed as like only a top 10 quarterback in this class. Maybe he's viewed as more like as like the 7, 8, or 9th guy, because there are some other people out there that like Kyle McCord or that dude from Louisville better than a Quinn Ewers. So maybe if that is the case, Ewers does slip to the 4th or the 5th. I mean, because I think the dude was good at Texas, won games, helped bring the program back to relevancy. I don't think there's much wow to his game. I think he's got a pretty good arm. He has the talent to make tight window throws. Wasn't asked to make a ton of them at Texas because of the talent surrounding him. But I got to give the dude credit for helping elevate the Texas program back to prominence over these last couple of years and make the college football playoff and not choke in these big moment games either. And apparently he had some toughness to him too. Played with a torn oblique for the whole season last year. So it just all comes down to me with like the Quinn Ewers conversation. Or again, any quarterback really outside of Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Like depending on where they go and depending on what we do in free agency with Fields and quarterback, then yeah, I mean we could draft a quarterback in this class at some point. And it all depends on what we do in free agency. Like there's a lot of what ifs and a lot of hypotheticals, because let's say we do have some pressing needs after free agency. We weren't able to take care of everything. Then let's take care of those needs in the first 3 rounds. But let's say we use all of our cap space up. We restructure people. We get TJ on extension, and we get corner taken care of. We get D-line taken care of in free agency. We scoop up a receiver. We sign a veteran back up to Fields. Like, say we do all that, yeah, maybe it wouldn't be the worst idea to draft a quarterback in the second round, whether it's like Milroe, Howard, or Howard. Who else am I thinking? Like a Dart. Any of those guys, late first, early second, although our picks are going to be late first, late second. But you get my point. Like kind of in that range, you see what the quarterback landscape looks like. And maybe you get a guy that's in there and pushes Fields, and it's a security blanket for us in case Fields doesn't work out this year. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at with it. I'm open to drafting a quarterback as we sit here right now, though. Assuming we roll with Fields, we got this free agency ahead of us. I'm not really stressing on taking a quarterback early. I'm not. Now, depending on what we do in free agency, if we got all of our needs taken care of, and given that quarterback is the most important position, it wouldn't be the worst thing to invest early in that. That's as long as all the other needs are taken care of, and we feel like we have a ready-made roster with Fields at quarterback. He's got all the help he needs. But if not, bro, let's take some of those needs. Let's try to load up that roster, give Fields the best chance of success. Once we do that, and then we're sitting in the 4th round, Quinn Ewers is available, whoever's available, yeah, then take a quarterback. And if they're not, so be it. So be it. Worry about quarterback next year. Try to go all in with Fields this year. But another meeting that took place with the Steelers, Najee Harris. I guess not Najee, but his agent is meeting with Omar Khan and Steelers representatives at the Combine, and there is hope for Najee coming back. And honestly, we don't need to really go over this report all that much because this is the exact stuff we've been hearing. I guess it's just now it's actual news. There's actual action being taken between the two parties of conversations. But we've been hearing that the Steelers are open to Najee coming back. If Mike Tomlin has his say in it, Najee would be back. But, if the price is too much, it looks like the Steelers would also be willing to move off of Najee. If the price doesn't match up, if both sides can't come to this happy medium, I don't think the Steelers are stressing about it either. I'm good with moving off of Najee. I've been saying it. I think we got to get more explosive at the running back position. We've had 4 years of him. I don't really think it gets better. I don't think there's another level to Najee's game necessarily. We know what he is. 1,000-yard back when you give him X amount of carries, the amount of carries that he gets, but it's like he's averaging 3.94 yards a carry. I think if you give a lot of these running backs in this class, like any of these top 10 dudes, any guy that's going to be taken in the first 3 rounds, if we give him the amount of carries that Najee's been getting, I think we at least get Najee's production and potentially more because of their upside. So, like, that's my take on the whole situation. If Najee is back, we better have Fields at quarterback at least. We better have that dynamic, because if it's Najee back and then we're also bringing Russ back, like, come on, bro. Come on. The whole we got to make changes. We're serious about winning. That's just talk then. They would be sad moves to make, honestly. It would just be, again, going back to what's quote-unquote safe and familiar. And we know that that's not really going to be getting us anywhere. So it's just like, what are we doing? To talk about championships, to talk about change, getting back to the old Steeler way. Like, you can't take it seriously then. I don't think you can take it seriously. If those moves happen, let's see what moves actually take place. But that's it for this edition of Big Deke News on a Thursday. Stay chilling. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.